going on? Keith, Two Guys How To. June's out here with me today. As usual, we're fixing something. And we shot a couple videos on this gas tank for a 1994-95 GMC Topkick. But basically, we're going to show you today just on these top studs that hold this gasket down with the fuel pump. And I guess the sending switch levers, shows the fuel level in here, goes down in here, and you can see the studs are just getting beat up. This one's stripped. This one broke on us. June cut it off. So we're going to show you how to fix a stud if you're not familiar with it, if you are just starting out welding or whatever it is. But instead of sending it to the shop, we're going to show you how to cut these off and weld them on. And we're going to get busy here. So basically, June went ahead and he found a couple bolts that matched the same thread pitch. He took a nut, he screwed it down onto all of these, and he matched it up. We've got those bolts in the garage, and we're just going to cut the heads off of those bolts and turn them into little studs. If you want to go to the hardware store, you can buy just the stud and set it at the right height. But we cleaned this with the wire brush, got that nice and clean. We're just going to go ahead and tape this up with some of that blue painter's tape, just to keep any of the additional metal filings out of there. There's already kinds of stuff down there. We've cleaned this tank with vinegar, and we got a lot of the rust out. We're going to still have to rinse it one more time. But we're going to go ahead and put some tape over top just to keep it, anything that falls in there slag from when he grinds the bolts off and welds. That'll make it a little bit easier to clean. So he's going to get this taped up, and we're going to go ahead and cut these top studs off of here and get them nice and clean and get the new studs welded back on. Now that he's got it taped up, let's use this little piece right here. Little scraps. I'll go ahead and cut that stud off that he wants to replace. He said this one's stripped. You can see it's beat up, so we're just going to cut that one off. We cut this one to make it a little flatter. He's got a grinder with the cut-off wheel. You see how skinny that wheel is. It's precise when you get down in there to cut these off. He's just going to go ahead and take care of that, get them off of there. Went ahead and just ground them down nice and flat. They feel flat, and they're ready to get a new bolt set on there. All right, you guys, so before June starts cutting this, we got 2 bolts, and we're just going to cut the heads off, and they're going to mimic the stud. They're the same thread pitch and everything, and we're going to set them there, but we're going to just cut that little head off. So we went ahead and we double nutted the one that he has.
The thread pitch.
Yeah, and he's matching up the thread pitch. He's pushing it in on itself. Plus he checked it with the nut. If you take one of the nuts that he has here and you screw it on, which we did, that'll make sure that it fits. So he's got double nuts here. He's just holding it with those vice grips, and he's going to cut that head off. And these are good bolts too. They're black. They're probably grade 8. Heavy duty. They should give us a lot of longevity here. So let's go ahead and just make our own stud by cutting. Want to make sure it's nice and straight and flat. That one's good to go. Same thing. And let me see one of those nuts there, June. And you can double check here if you want to make sure that your thread pitch is right. You see how those nuts screw right onto these studs. beautifully. And we can go ahead and it's the same nut we're using to double nut these to hold it. We're double nutting it because when you try to cut it, it could spin. So we're just getting a little bit more of a bite with the double nuts there and a little bit more of a platform for him to grab it with those vice grips. We're ready to go. Cut off this other head and get our second stud. Good to go, Ace, nice and flat. So like I said, we went ahead and wire brushed everything with the drill. Right here, the drill with the wire brush. And we went around this whole thing like that, cleaned off the whole side, got all these studs cleaned, and really got down and dirty with it. I'll leave this here in case he needs it.
Grab the flange.
Yeah, and there's a flange that goes on here, so we're gonna lay that down as a template. That way we can make sure these sit right into that flange the proper way. And you can see, yeah, inside the truck there, June, and you can see where he cut it. It's nice and already clean. It's ready for, it'll get a good bite when we set it on there to weld. So once he sets that straight up and down, we check that. We can check that with a straight edge. We'll get these two studs set right here like this. You can kind of see where the imprint was, where they were. And you just want to make sure they do sit straight. This one. There we go. And that's how they're going to sit. And we're going to get the tack welder. We're going to get the MIG. We're going to use a MIG on this. And with argon gas mix. And get a good bite on those. So let's get started. Let's get that welder over here and get him on. Okay, so we're ready. We got our studs cut here. Got two studs cut, and we've got the template here where this hold down goes for the sending unit. And you can see it over there sitting on the crate there. This is the whole sending unit that goes down inside the tank that gives you your gas register on your gas gauge, your level. And that's the way it's going to sit. All these tubes come out from the front, correct, June?
Yep. Straight that way.
So we're going to set that template right on there. Yours might or might not have a template. You might just be fixing something to fix it, but we want to make sure they're lined up.
Holes pretty much center.
So yeah, we're going to center the holes. You should see a little bit of that tape through there around each side, pretty much. It's about where it can go. We're just going to make a mark down there. This Sharpie magic marker here. And boom, when you lift it up, you should see where they're going to sit. Is that right? And what we did, we've got a magnet for welding, and it holds a 90-degree edge. So I went in the garage, and I actually found this piece here. It's kind of like for like an air filter or something. You add it to a bolt to make it longer, or if you want to tighten up something like a turnbuckle. So we're going to take that stud right into that little extender turnbuckle piece that I got out of the shop there. That way it'll stick up on the magnet even higher up and leave a little space right down there. So June can line that up. We know that that's at a 90-degree angle, perfectly straight up and down. And he's covering up that magic marker hole. He's pretty much ready to weld. And as he welds, he's going to burn a little bit of that tape off, or what have you, but it's no big deal. It'll keep most of the slag out of the gas tank. And so he's got the MIG gun here. We're running a Miller 440C, and this one's a professional. It's really good for body work. It gets down really fine, thin stuff, and it'll do. We've done 1/4-inch motor mounts for a big block 496 that we have in the Nova 2. So that thing's got some good penetrating power. He's got all the gauges set up right. Fresh can of gas on there. Gas is on. Go ahead and turn that on. He's going to run it. You can see our settings. Yours might be a little different, but this general, you know, for the wire feed spool speed, he's almost at 3, about 2 to 3, and on the setting is between H and I on this 140C. Yours might be a little different. Just test it before you get started, and we're ready to zing this thing on. He did 3 tack welds right there where you can see. So when he pulls that magnet off, straight up and down. Now he's ready just to go around the whole outside and beat it up.
To the other one.
Yep, we're just going to duplicate the process there. We'll go ahead and let these cool down, and we'll hit that with the grinder and get it nice and flush like these. That way that it can sit on there. And I can't remember if that had a gasket. I want to say it did have a gasket around there.
Yeah, it takes a big O-ring.
And
big thick O-ring.
Oh yeah, the big O-ring. So it should still be reusable on this particular project. Yep. And those magnets we're using, they look like arrows. We actually got those at Harbor Freight, and they're a welder's magnet. And they hold things in place if you're going to do a 90-degree joint or hold something straight up and down vertical. And they're fantastic for holding stuff.
They get all this slop on it, but
yeah, they get a lot of metal filings on it, but it's fine. I mean, it's better than holding it there or having your buddy hold it there. Plus, if you're working by yourself, it's an extra set of hands for you, and they're cheap. You know, they're cheap buy. Good. The reason why he's not hitting it with solid heat on one side or the other, hold on for a second, June, because if he went ahead and he went around that thing real fast like that, the heat will cause it to pull. And if you weren't using the magnet, it will pull to one side or the other. So he's tack welding it in place. That way when he puts that solid heat around it, that stud won't kick over to the left or the right and start pulling to where that metal's binding it. So we're good. Go around this outside. We're almost done with this. Clean it up and paint it. Alright, now once you wire brush it, you can really see how the penetrations in the weld are, and they're good. So we're just going to skim down the top of these, the weld heads there, just for when this top bracket goes back on there, this hold down bracket, and it sits like that. And it's got an O-ring that goes in there, so we probably don't need to take them down all the way, but we'll just go ahead for good measure. Take them down a little bit, that way that O-ring will seat and it'll pull down nice and even. I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna get a hand file, and I'm gonna go around those sides after he's done and just hand file them down. And get ready, get this thing wire brushed one more time and get a coat of paint on it. We use that cutoff wheel real gently and ground down these welds on the edge so this piece would fit on, this top cap here. I believe it goes like that. Boom, so we're good there. It's nice and flat, it sits flat. No interference. I did take a big file and kind of file near these edges a little bit, but you don't want to strip the threads. If you can get it close enough without that, you're fine, or if you got a little Dremel, you can hit it with that, but we're good to go. Yeah, and this is the file I use. I use this big old thing, but I just kind of went down here around the edges and just tightened them up right up next to the bolt without hitting the threads, and just kind of squeeze it up. That's good to go. So we're ready to blow this off, take this tape off of here. Yeah, the rain's getting ready to come. And I'm gonna go ahead, yep, I can feel the rain already. It's coming in early on us. And we're just getting ready to paint too. So where's that wire brush with the drill? Let's just hit that real quick. One more time, just get these couple little spots off. Tape off, see that blue? Right in here. Got some rubbing alcohol. We're running a 70% because I didn't bring the 90% out, and we've got a donator rag from George's work van, one of his old socks.
Oh, I hope it ain't dirty.
And it has been used, but it holds that rubbing alcohol perfect. We can use acetylene, what is it, acetone? It's more expensive, and rubbing alcohol works great, and it dries super fast. It won't leave any residue. And it'll be ready to spray some primer and some paint on there. And we double checked our threads on here. We're good. So let's go ahead and get a quick coat of primer on this thing. The rain is coming down. We might have to just move this thing inside. Let that set up. And get a coat of black paint on this thing here in a few minutes. All right, so we're done. Rain came in real quick. I hit it with a coat of primer before the rain came and touched it up a little bit and kind of hit my last little coat of black gloss. And we're gonna wire brush the rest of the tank and finish that, but you can see how the studs look. They all match the other ones. They're all painted up. Ready for this thing to go back on the tow truck. June's over there just fixing up some straps that got a little bit of rust on them and a couple holes he's patching up just to get this thing back on this older truck and get it on the road again. So we're out of here. Hopefully this video helps you. That's how you install a stud. You can either buy the stud or make yours out of a bolt. Do it slowly, simply, just like we did. If you haven't done one before, but that's how you get better and better. Do it yourself, save that money. Keith June's over there, how-tos. And we're out. Check out the other videos, maybe they'll help you out. Something along the line. If any questions, comments, hit us up. We'll respond back. See ya. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.